students. So here we are again with another video which includes a poem, Summer Sun, from your second term syllabus. The poem is written by Robert Louis Stevenson. So in this video the poem will be explained to you, and with the poem you will be getting attachments of the exercises and question and answers related to the poem, which you will be downloading from the campus care, and you have to write it in your English 2 classwork copy. Make sure, children, that you write the poem as it is written in the book. All the lines, all the commas, full stops, everything should be written as it is written in your Gulmohar book. Now when you are writing the question and answers, word meanings, exercises, or anything in your copy which is asked by the teachers, you have to make sure that you don't make any spelling mistakes and your work is very neat and clean. So let's begin with the explanation of the poem, and I hope you will like the video, you will understand each and everything about the poem, and you will do the work given to you sincerely.
Dear children, this poem, Summer Sun, is recited and explained to you at the best time, I suppose. This is the time when you all can spend some time observing nature every morning. How beautiful the Almighty has created everything for us, and how beautiful it looks without the hindrance of mankind in the period of this quarantine. Before we begin with the explanation of the poem, let us know something about the poet. The poet of this poem is Robert Louis Stevenson. He was born on November 13, 1850 in Edinburgh, Scotland. He was a Scottish novelist, poet, essayist, and travel writer. My dear children, people have often told stories and written poems in which non-living things act like human beings. You know what it is called? This technique of bringing life into a non-living object is known as personification. You must be puzzled. No problem. Summer Sun is a perfect example of the use of a literary technique. What do you mean by literary technique? Literary technique is a technique used in English literature. So, Summer Sun poem is a perfect example of the use of a literary technique called personification, in which a poet's words bring life into a non-living object. Now you must be thinking, why does a poet need to do this? So children, let me tell you, this is the beauty of English literature. The stories or poems that you read in your literature book remains in your memory because of the various beautiful literary techniques which the poets or the writers use in their work. Writing a poem, thus, my dear children, involves imagination, use of concrete and abstract words, and different techniques, one of them like personification, in order to generate feelings in your reader. You can also say that it brings beauty in what you write. The poem Summer Sun is beautified by one of the literary techniques called personification. In this poem, The sun is imagined as a big and cheerful person. What do you mean by cheerful? Happy. A big and happy person. And how we enjoy its sparkling personality. So come on, let's read the poem Summer Sun. Let's begin with the first stanza of the poem. Great is the sun, and wide he goes through empty heaven with repose. And in the blue and glowing days, more thick than rain, he showers his rays. Dear children, you must have heard from your elders and your teachers that the sun is a big ball of fire. So in this poem, the sun is compared to a big or huge person who travels everywhere. As you know, sunlight travels everywhere without thinking about anything calmly. So great is the sun and wide he goes. The sun is a big and happy person and he can go anywhere. Through empty heaven with repose means without thinking about anything, calmly sunlight can travel everywhere. And in the blue and glowing days, as you all know that during summer season the sun shines more than it rains. So even during a rainy season, sunlight passes through the water as they are thicker than rain. More thick than rain showers his rays. This is what it means. Means that as in the rainy and the sunny and bright season, the sun shines perfectly and passes through the water as they are thicker than rain. Let's read the second stanza now. Though closer still the blinds we pull to keep the shady parlour cool, yet he will find a chink or two to slip his golden fingers through. In the second stanza, the poet is trying to explain you all that in the summer season how the sun becomes naughty and mischievous like a person. Can you imagine the sun being naughty and mischievous? No, in reality it can't be. But in a poem, a poet can compare a non-living thing to any living object. So, here, since the sun is compared to a big and happy person, so we can say that the sun can also become naughty and mischievous. Though closer, still the blinds we pull. Here, blinds is referred to anything that covers our windows. All of you must be having curtains at your home, which is covering your windows and doors. So blinds is referred to anything that covers our windows and prevents the sunlight to enter into our rooms in order to keep it cool. During summer, it's really hot and warm. So all of us try to put thick curtains on our windows. Yet he will find a chink or two. Chink? What do you mean by chink? Chink is a crack or opening. So the sun is so naughty that no matter how much you cover your windows, yet he will find a way to slip his golden fingers into your room. Golden fingers is referred to the sunlight, sun rays. So the rays of the sun, no matter how much you cover your window with thick curtains, the sun rays get a chance and get a crack or opening through which it can enter your rooms. Let's read the third stanza now. The dusty attic spider clad, he through the keyhole maketh glad, and through the broken edge of tiles into the laddered hayloft smiles. In the third stanza, the poet conveys that the sunlight even enters into a storeroom filled with dust and spiders, and make them happy. Even the dried grass and plants smiles to it when the sunlight falls on it through the broken tiles. So the dusty attic spider clad, the dusty storeroom and spiders. He through the keyhole maketh glad. So through the keyhole, when the sunlight enters into a storeroom having spiders, it makes them happy. And through the broken edge of tiles into the laddered hayloft smiles. So even the dried grass and plants smiles at the sunlight when it falls on it through the broken tiles. Fourth stanza. Meantime his golden face around he bears to all the garden ground, and sheds a warm and glittering look among the ivy's inmost nook. Children, in the fourth stanza, the poet is addressing the sun as a person with a golden face. He says that the rays coming out from his golden face falls on all the garden ground and make them warm and give them a glittering means shining look. Even every corner of the top hills get its warmth and shine. As you know, children, the sun spreads its happiness and cheer even when it sets down, painting the sky in the beautiful shades of red. Coming to the last stanza of the poem. Above the hills, along the blue, round the bright air with footing true, to please the child, to paint the rose, the gardener of the world, he goes. So the last stanza of the poem addresses the sun as a gardener. He says that sun spreads its sunlight above the hills and everywhere evenly. It makes the children happy while they play in the garden and have a pleasant view of the flowers. Sun is also called the gardener of the world in the last stanza because sunlight is the main reason for the growth of plants and greenery on the earth. So, my dear children, I hope you have liked this poem and you are making the best use of this quarantine